Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. I'm Nathan Hager, joined by Bloomberg's Valerie Teitel on a morning with a lot of stocks moving on headlines, and that is certainly the case for the defense contractors. Valerie, good morning.
Good morning, Nathan. Yes, and they are surging globally. It's not just in the U.S. pre-market. We also saw it in the Asia session and the European session. But in the U.S. pre-market, we have the likes of RTX up 4.5%, Lockheed Martin up nearly 7%, and Northrop Grumman up nearly 8% in pre-market trade on the back of this social media post from the U.S. president that he wants to boost the annual defense budget by 50% from $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion. Now, that kind of move would mark the biggest ever spending increase for the U.S. military. Obviously, there's a lot of questions on whether he can actually get some spending like that through Congress, but it does seem to be on a global basis. We are reacting to this post. In the European session, we had UK's BAE Systems up nearly 6%. It generates almost half its revenue from the U.S. So this tweet is really having global ramifications for the defense industry.
Now, we've got some headlines affecting Nvidia shares as well coming out of China, right?
Yeah, this is some news about Nvidia selling its H200 chip into China. Bloomberg is reporting that China is set to approve purchases as soon as this quarter. So we're seeing Nvidia outperform the broader market, but just slightly. We're up 0.5% compared to the NASDAQ, which is in the red, down 0.25%. Now, this would mark the return to the Chinese market for Nvidia if this approval was set to go through, which is really nothing to sneeze at, given China is currently the biggest market for semiconductors. Nvidia used to have a whopping 95% market share before export controls took that share essentially down to zero. And in place, it has seen local rivals such as Huawei and Cambricon gain in its absence. So a return for Nvidia to the Chinese market would sure be a big impulse for Nvidia shares moving forward.
Yeah, certainly. But very interesting to see that among the Magnificent Seven stocks, Nvidia is not the biggest performer right now. Google parent Alphabet has an even bigger bid this morning.
Yeah. Alphabet is the main outperformer of the Mag 7 this morning. It's up around 1% in pre-market trade. Not a lot, but we did have an upgrade from the street from Cantor Fitzgerald, who upgraded the company from overweight to neutral, citing the fact that Google has the strongest footprint across several layers in the AI tech stack. And this comes amid, it's a new year, Nathan. Investors are looking at where to position in this AI trade if this carries forward into next year. And Cantor Fitzgerald saying that Google could be one of the main beneficiaries moving forward.
And finally, Valerie, we've got Constellation Brands on your list this morning. Are they reported earnings? They're about to report earnings. What's going on there?
They reported earnings. This is the maker of Modelo and Corona, so big in the beer industry. Constellation Brands is up 2.3%. They did have a beat when it comes to net sales for the third quarter and did reaffirm their full year guidance. The company did in some ways cite improving trends throughout December, but they're still guiding for beer sales growth to decline over the full year. There's been a big pullback in consumer spending habits, and they have cited specifically a pullback in spending in Hispanic drinkers, which I think is an interesting point, Nathan. Weak consumer sentiment, rising unemployment rates, it seems to have a particular impact among Hispanics in their customer base. Is this due to the immigration policies of Donald Trump? Not too sure, but they also cited a downturn in what they called 4,000-calorie jobs, or physically demanding jobs, such as those in construction that typically boost beer sales. So with a pullback in those kind of demanding jobs, they're seeing beer sales decline next year.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.